Alright, so I've got my Levamisole here, which I've got from the shop, and I've got my instructions of what I've got to do and all that sort of stuff. And this is what I'm treating for the Camallanus roundworms. And it says I've got to do, here's the instructions, all that sort of stuff. And I found out that this stuff at the shop is different to the powder and the tablets, because this is a liquid format. So the lady was very nice to me and she told me 1 mil per 7 litres of fish tank. Now I've got 360 litres in my big tank, and that's what I've got to do. So I've got to determine the length, I've got to treat with the lights off, I've got to perform a large water change prior to the treatment, which is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do a 50% water change today. Then I've got to do a treatment, then I do another water change afterwards, after the 24 hours, and then I've got to return the tank to the normal, and then I do it in 5 to 7 days after another water change and do it again. So this is going to be a bit of a nightmare for me, because this is something that I have never had before, had to find out, and this is something that I found out off the internet. So hopefully this is what it's going to do, and it's Levamisole hydrochloride is what I'm using. Yeah, that was me doing homework, $32 from eBay from Western Australia, but I actually found somewhere here in Melbourne, which was a pet supply shop, and it's more for wormers for the poultry and things like that. But anyway, we'll see how we go. Stay tuned. Okay, this is time to change and clean the filter before I do the Levamisole change. So this is the fun and games. So first we disconnect the power, then we disconnect the filter, disconnect all the connections for the water, which is what I'm doing now for the canister. It's an Eheim 2217, which I've had for many years, and it's never given me any problems, which is great for me. So yeah. And I put it in a bucket to make it easier to get out for when I'm doing all this sort of stuff. So yeah. Alright, now the reason we're doing this is because the other 2 weeks ago I found red worms in my canister when I cleaned this out a couple of weeks ago. Alright, these are our Camallanus worms. These are the ones that were taken out of the canister. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-ish. So I've looked into it, found out what it is, and it's red worms, which they call Camallanus, I think you call it, or something along those lines. So yeah. So that's the worms that affect them, and they came in with those blue rams that I bought a couple of weeks ago. So yeah. So this is how I clean my filters. This is the process that I use to clean my Eheim filter. I open the valves, let some air in, get some of the water out first, into the bucket, and close the valve off, which stops the flow. So just getting rid of some of that water, and then I start packing it to bits, pulling it to bits. And once the clips are off, drain it so you don't have water everywhere. I inspect the rubber ring, which is usually pretty good. No need to clean it, because as you can see, it's pretty clean, and my tank, as you can see in the background, my tank is usually pretty good on that sort of thing. So yeah. So now comes the fun. Let's get some water from the tank. This is what I do. So I don't know how other people do it, but this is my process of how I do it. Got an old toothbrush. No, I'm not doing my teeth today. So I get the bits and pieces, I take them out and I give them a clean. Just a quick once over, make sure they're all okay. Not trying to get too much of the stuff off them, because at the end of the day I'm going to do another water change in another couple of days. So at the moment I'm just doing a quick clean. So because the purpose of this today is to get the water and everything ready for when I do the water change tomorrow, for after I put the Levamisole in. So today it's just a quick once over, and you can see as it looks like. So I tend to feed kind of a little bit heavy at times, depending on what's happening in the tank. So as you can see, the water's not that clean, is it? But it's not too bad. So that's the polish filter done. I'm lucky, I've just got an ensuite just next door. So when I do this, all I do is just the water that I have just goes straight into the basin in the ensuite. So nothing major, nothing flash or fantastic. So it makes life a bit easier when it comes to it for me. So yeah. I have different containers, because what I do is I separate the bio balls and the rings depending on which ones I'm cleaning at the time. This is how, like I said, this is how I do it. I don't know how other people do it, but this is how I do it. So just get a few of these, put them in here, give them a once over, and chuck them in there. And as you can see, or whether you can see or not, that there's a bit of dirt on them. Not overly, not black as charcoal, as I've seen previously, years ago, because I did feed too much. But I've got it down pretty much now. This tank's been running for 4 years. So what I'm doing is I'm just rinsing these out, keeping my eye in here to see, as I'm doing it, to see if anything comes when I take the balls out. So what I might do is I might bring it a bit closer so you can actually see. So there you go. So that's what I'm doing. I'm getting a handful of these, the balls out of the top, put them in the water, give them a bit of a rinse, get some of the black stuff off them. As you can see, they come out of the canister, just to rinse in that water and then chuck them in there. Pretty much every time I do it, this is how I do it. So just take them out, give them a quick rinse. Doesn't take long. I think the whole process 40 minutes, half an hour at the most, maybe an hour. Depends on if I want to do a thorough clean or whether I just want to do a quick clean. So today's only a quick clean, because all I'm doing is getting ready, because I'm putting the Levamisole in because of these worms. But otherwise, normally I just pretty much the same process, but I'm doing it today as preparation for this Levamisole product. So I thought the best idea is I give this a clean, then I'll take 50% of the water out, put the Levamisole in, then let it sit for 24 hours without the light on, and then do a 50% water change. That means I'll have to change this again and then keep my eye on it for the next, as well as a water change. I've got to do a gravel vac, keep my eyes on it to see what happens to get rid of these worms as much as I can, because I found the worms in the bottom of the canister down here when I was doing the ceramic rings. So I didn't know anything about it until I saw when I did this change, because there's no visual worms coming out of the anus of the fish, so there was nothing to see there. There was no visual signs of anything. I haven't lost any fish lately, so hopefully I've caught it before it gets too bad. So we'll just see how we go. And another reason for doing this is I want to have a look at this to see if there are any worms in the bottom of this when I get down to it. So there's two reasons for doing this. One is just to give it a clean in preparation for the product that I'm doing, and two, to see if there are any worms, because that's how I caught them last time, that I knew that I had them, was in the bottom of this. Otherwise I would never have known. And they came in those blue cichlids that I got, or cichlids, rams, or whatever you want to call them. I don't know the proper name for them, but the blue ones that I got about a month ago now. Didn't know anything about it. Came from my shop that I deal with all the time. Never had a product or a problem before. So I didn't quarantine because there's only 4 of them. The shop that I get all my stuff from is usually pretty good. So that's one lesson I've learnt, is quarantine, no matter what. Even if it's from a reputable supplier, whether it be a shop or someone you've dealt with, from now on, every fish, regardless, will go into a quarantine tank that I've set up. No matter who it comes from, where it comes from, trusted friend or not, I don't care now. I can't afford to lose fish, because in that big tank I breed the L270s, I breed the L144 albino pleco short fins, plus I used to have some swordtails in there, but no longer. I took them out, put them into another tank, and I've sold all of them, so I no longer have any swordtails, and that was probably 2 years ago, before I started doing YouTube videos. So as you can see, this is just a matter of doing this. Alright, that's the last of those. So now I'll just mop up some of this. Lucky I've got an old Laminex table, because otherwise it would be soaking into the timber everywhere. But the good old retro Laminex tables are great for this sort of thing, because no matter how much water you put on it, it doesn't affect it. Alright, that's that one. Now this one I know's filled. This is the main one. I know this is going to be dirty. I already know it before I even start. Like I said earlier, I'm not going to be too fussy with this today, because at the moment I'm just doing a quick clean, getting it ready for when I put the Levamisole in. So I'm not being too pedantic. So yeah. All right, here we go. The fun. Now this is where last time I found a couple of pleco fry, albino, bristle nose, short fins, L144s. I found a couple fry in the bottom of this because they get sucked up or whatever it is through the filter and end up in the bottom. So we'll have a look and see how we go with this as well. Like I said, this is just preparation for running the Levamisole. But it's also how I normally, one of the pesky little snails got in there, because it's the intake. Because I'm running it to preparation for the Levamisole product that I've got to run through it for these worms that I've got. But the process that I'm doing is exactly the same as I would normally do, only I'm not being as thorough as what I would normally be. Because normally I would rinse and double rinse, whereas today I'm just doing a quick rinse, put them into the buckets, then I'll give another rinse as I put them back into the canister and refill the canister. So each time what I'll do is I'll do a few, have a look in the container to see if there's any worms or anything in there, just in case. Nothing in that one. And also taking the water out helps me for when I'm doing, after this, when I'm doing the 50% water change. It's less water I've got to change because I've already taken some out. So that helps, doesn't it? So what do you do on your Saturday afternoons? Are you like me and have no life and do your filter changes and all your stuff on a Saturday afternoon? Or what day do you do your filter changes? Do you do it on your days off? Do you do it before work? Do you do it after work? Do you do it night time? Leave a message in the comments, because it's intriguing for me to see what sort of times, and I'd say most people, I'd be guessing, most people would do it after work. But because I'm not working, I can do it whenever I want. So there we go, there's our first worm. So we have got worms in here. I'll just take a photo so we can get a good shot of this little sucker. If the water will stop moving around. There we go, there he is. So I definitely have them. Just what I didn't want. So I'll show you that picture in a minute. I'll just get rid of some of this water and I'll take another photo. Alright. Don't know whether you can see it. Oh yes, there you can. Look, if I put my finger on there, see where my finger is? See that? That's the worm. See that there? That red thing? That is the troublemaker. Alright, and as you can see, it is actually moving. If you have a look and see, that's the sucker. So that's one. What I might do, I don't know whether you guys have tried this, but a milk container, halfway down, cut it, and it's a great scoop. See? Put it in your tank, scoop it out, sits on the bottom, fantastic. So what I'm going to do is put this sucker very carefully, try and catch him without all the 300 litres of water, which I didn't want, but I'll bring some water back. There we go. So I'll just keep that up there so I can have an idea of how many I've got, because that'll give me a better idea. of how bad it is, I guess, or what's happening. See? Great little scoop. Quick and easy. Just cut a milk container in half and away you go. Simple as that. And it's great for doing things like this. So that's why I'm putting these into this other container as well, with only a shallow amount of water, because I want to see how many I find, if any. So we know we've got one so far. And I've done the homework. The reason why they are red is because it's the blood from the fish. Normally they're a clear worm, and they go red because they're sucking on the blood from the intestines of the fish. And what happens is when they're full, they leave the fish and they look for another host. And they leave via its anus. And that's why they call them a Camallanus worm, because they come and go via the anus of the fish. It's amazing what you can learn on Google. Alright, I'm just about down at the bottom. Well, I am at the bottom. I'm just got to get these out of this, because that's the problem I have sometimes. They get stuck. That's pretty clean. Nothing on that. So I'll just chuck that in with the others. Found 2 little balls or more. So now we're at the bottom of the canister. So now we'll see if there's any more, or if there's any little plecos, or what other surprises the bottom's got for me. I was just thinking, when I emptied some of the water out, there could have been some of them in the bottom of that when I emptied the water, because all it was black water, and I didn't think about that. So I could have been more, and I might have got rid of them by draining it straight out that way. But anyway, that's the way it goes. But definitely got one, so we'll see how many more we can find. Here's another one for you. When you make videos, if you make videos, do you keep the outtakes? Do you keep the F-bombs and all the other bits and leave it in your video? Or do you take them out and add them in at the end? Or do you not add them in at all? I've been watching a few people lately and they add them in, but they add them in at the end. So that's something that I'm thinking of doing now. Not that I do a lot of videos anyway, but it's something that I'm thinking about. So I don't do a lot of editing. Usually I just check it through, see what's in it. If there's nothing wrong with it, I usually just send it straight up. Edit 1 or 2 videos, join them together. So I'm still new at all that sort of stuff, so yeah, still learning. Got my L plates on when it comes to video editing and making YouTube videos. It's all new, so yeah. Alright, let's have a look in here. What do we got? Some more bits and pieces. A few balls got to the bottom, God forbid. No. Well, the good thing is there's only one worm that I can see so far. So, yeah, which is good. Like I said, I'm not going to be over pedantic about this because I'm going to be finding more when I do the proper clean out in 2 days' time. So I'm just kind of doing this to when they talk about doing this Levamisole. But they do say make sure you have no activated carbon in it. Not aggravated, activated carbon. But I don't run carbon in my tanks anyway, so that's something that I don't have as normal anyway. So yeah. And the good part about this is there's no little bristle noses in there. No albino bristle nose today. I think last time they just happened to get through. They went for a swim and then they said, oh look, what's that thing up there, and let's go for a swim. You know, like what's that movie? Ah, Nemo, Finding Nemo, isn't it? That's what that movie's all about. Finding the fish that went for a holiday. Isn't it? Exactly what we're talking about. The fish said, I'm going on holiday, see ya. So now comes the fill up part. Because like I said, I'm not going to clean it overly too thoroughly because it was just to see how many worms, if any, or whatever. So we've got one worm. One of our little red worms. So yeah. So that makes 3 because last time I caught 2. So now it's basically put it all back together. Give that a quick clean. Oh look, speaking of the devils, there we go. One bristle nose, albino bristle nose, hiding in the tubing. Ha ha! Look at that. Hang on, I'll get rid of some water and I'll show you. This is exactly why I do these cleanups like I do. Look, there you go. Bottom of my hand. One where my finger is now, see? One albino short fin bristlenose. See? There you go. It's exactly why I do these cleanups like I do. So I'll put him in the other tank with his brothers and sisters. And there we go. And as I just proved, it's always advisable to back flush. See what I mean? Fill that up with some water and check. Exactly that could have and would have happened if I didn't check it, which is something I normally do anyway, but if I didn't check it, that would have one of those in there and I'd never see it again. Because there's no way for it to get out, because they can't come backwards against it. So just checking, no more worms, no more anything else in there. No. I don't think I'll do another clean on those because they're all pretty clean as they are. No, I'm not going to do another clean on those, but I'll keep my eyes open for anything in there as I do it. Because normally I would rinse them again and then put them into the container. But this time, like I said, I'm only doing a preparation. So, but normally what I would do is I'd get them from there, put them in there as a rinse and then put them into there. But today, I'm only doing a check ready for when I put the Levamisole in later on today. Oh, look what I think I've just found. Haha! I think I've just found myself another worm. Bingo. I just noticed another red thing. Here we go, look at this. Whether you can see it on the camera. See that red there? See that? That's one of the other worms. So it is always time to check to see if everything is clean, especially in these sort of circumstances, so that when you put it all back together you don't have lots of them when you're trying to get rid of them. Now the thing is, how do I get it out of there without squashing the shit out of it, which I just did. Alright, we'll just leave that like that for the minute. Because as you saw, and there's one or two more in there as well. So there we go. I've got to get them out of that. Because that's the only pad I have of that type. There's a few in there actually. Having a look now. See, once again, it proves to always check that things over as you're doing it before you put things in, to have a look. So there's nothing in there now, so we'll put this in here. We'll see if we can't coax them out somehow. So I've got the tweezers. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some photos with my phone. So you can see what I'm actually talking about. If I can get it where I want it. In the phone there. Now the problem is, I've got to find them again. Or have I got them out? I don't think so. And I don't think they're going to come out easily either, just quietly. So we'll see. So I've got my tweezers, And I'll see if I can't just gently coax it out. Right. Don't know if it's actually one or two or it's just the lighting, but I seem to have lost them now, or they've gone into there. I might be lucky, they might have come out, so we'll give this a go and we'll see what happens. As my grandfather used to teach me, there's more than one way to skin a rabbit. And I'm telling you, I'll try anything and everything I can to get rid of these rabbits. No, they're not rabbits. So what I might do for next time is I'll buy some more of this and have another one of these pads ready. But looking at that, I think I might be lucky and I might have got them out. Maybe. Maybe, I'm not sure. No? Bit hard to tell. What I'm doing now is I'm holding the sponge filter up to the light to see if there's anything there and to see what it is, if I can find it or not. But there seems to be a few things in parts of it, but I can't really tell. It's a bit hard to tell, really. Now I'm not sure if they've gone further into the sponge, but yeah, we'll see. Well, there's no worms in that. Not in that lot anyway. Houston, we have a few, and I just noticed some smaller ones that I was doing down the drain that I didn't catch. Now, sorry, just back to this again. I just caught two of the little suckers. I'll tip all of that in there, I think. Now, I don't know if these are actual babies or these are pieces that I've squashed and broken off the main ones, because I don't know actually how big they are, so it's a learning process for me as well. So yes, but there's definitely a couple in there now, not big ones, but there's only that big one that I saw earlier, and there's a few other bits and pieces of stuff. So what I'll do is I'll wait for all that to settle, and then I'll get some photos and I'll add it to this, and we'll see how we go. And I'm just curious about this to see what's happened here, if they've actually come out or what they've done. Just having another look at this sponge to see if I can see anything that's really obvious. But at the moment, I think they're all out or hiding in the middle somewhere. One or the other. So what I'll do tomorrow is I'll go and buy myself another one of these sponges, or have a look in my sponge collection and see what I've got in the way of other sponges. Anyway, put that back in there. Have a look through this to see what we've got. Oh, there we go. Yes, we have more. Let all that settle and see what we can see. Yes, there's two in there. So we'll put all that in there. And there shouldn't be any in there because I've just done that. Alright, so we've got that. Now we'll put this lot back. As I said, I'm not going to be too pedantic about putting this back together because we all know that I'm going to do it again in 48 hours time. So The other thing I do is I always have a rubbish bin beside me when I'm doing this sort of stuff, because if I find anything that's in the filters or anything like that, it's easier to just drop it straight in the bin than what it is to go and put it aside or then go and get a bin later or whatever, because at least this way it just goes straight in the bin. So yeah, just a small kitchen rubbish bin just beside me. Oh, there's one of our friends. Come on, come to daddy. There we go. See, that's what I mean exactly. Always look as you're doing this. See? And that's why I always keep an eye on it as I do stuff. So that's about 4 I've got now. So we'll see how many more we can get in the next video when we do the, after we've put the Levamisole in it. So I'll leave that one to settle, see what happens. Might have 1 or 2 in there. Clean up some of this. That's why it's always handy to have like a toothbrush, a little brush, pair of tweezers, tongs, sponges, all these sort of things, little buckets that you can make for yourself. Very simple, doesn't cost you anything, and makes life so much easier when you're trying to do things. So now we put this back in, give this another quick rinse. And while I'm at it, I'll have a look to see that there's nothing in it or on it. About little friendly worms? No, not this side. Not that side. No, looks good. Well, looks okay. And the top piece. No wormies or anything on that. Nope. All ready to go. So we've got to put some more water in, and then we put the lid on. And this is the part that gets you. Always fill up the canister with water, then get the air out of it. Makes it easier, because then you don't have to bleed the system and make it even harder. So what I do is I always fill it up, whether you can see, but the line for the top of the canister is there, and I put a bit of extra water in just to make it over, because when you put the top on, you've kind of got to burp it. Now what I do is on my canisters, I put a black texture mark on the clip, and I put a texture mark on the container on the top, so that I know when I'm putting it back together, that's where it goes. And then what I do, it's an old trick, I wet the rubber ring, because then you're not putting the ring in while it's dry. So you put it in, line up your mark, and then open up the top valve, because what happens is, as you're pushing the lid down, you're going to be pushing the air out. And then what you do is, I put a bucket beside it, and then as I gently push it down, you'll see that as I push it, it gets the air out of it. Do a clip or 2 up, and as it comes down, it'll get a bit of water coming out the spout. No, haven't got enough water in it today. Well, there you go. So the next thing is, fill her up. There we go. See if there's any air in it. No. And then give it a quick push once or twice. Make sure, and then block it off. That's it. Give it a wipe and you're done. So they're not hard, it's just keeping on top of it, and it's just, once you've done it once or twice, it's not too hard. And what I would do is I put some silicone around the top, silicone Vaseline or whatever, and put it around the top, which helps when you close it off and join it, helps to seal it when you're putting it all back together and all the pipes and everything. It helps to seal so that you don't get leaks. Oh, clean the bottom so you're not putting water into the bucket. Alright, we'll put it back and see how we go. Oh, lost him. Man overboard. Oh. Is that what you call one of the outtakes?